Welcome to a Channel 8 News MHK All-Day Special Report, London Calling 2024. Coming up, we will take you with us to one of the most international cities in the world to tell you the stories of the people who live, work, and play here.
The fashion scene here in London is vast. From traditional wear to new trends, we'll take a look at the sophistication and class that is London fashion.
We'll see the impact of theater in the West End district and how it features over 40 theaters in the area.
We're going to be taking a look as to why football is everything and the moving sport to London.
I'm here at the Windmill Brixton to see if the soul of punk rock and metal is still alive in the heart of London.
Every neighborhood has a special place they like to gather. Here in London, that's the local pubs. Coming up, we'll take a look at what pub culture looks like here in London.
Plus, sports rivalries aren't just an American phenomenon. We'll see how those rivalries are alive and well here in the UK. Coming up on a special edition of Channel 8 News, MHK All Day, London Calling 2024.
Passion.
Big crowds, big games, big moments.
Hatred.
Fierce. Football is the largest sport worldwide, and its rivalries are just as immense. Here in London, it's no different.
You know, rivalries are fun, like as a fan, like they're big games, they're important. Just mainly like how fun rivalry games are, it's just hype, simply said.
So what makes a rivalry? For most teams, it's the opponent who is closest to them that is their biggest antagonist. That's true for nearly every part of the world, from the US to London.
They're very close to where we are. They're in North London as well. And obviously we're on each other's doorsteps. So obviously it's going to be a big rivalry when you're playing like the team on your doorstep. So it's always tense on game day.
In London, there are 7 Premier League teams, which means one of your biggest rivals could be just a few tube stops away. And with some of them being the biggest clubs in the world, the stakes are even higher. Anytime 2 teams face off on the pitch in the capital, it's called a London Derby, and the atmosphere is electric. A Midwestern comparison would be when the University of Kansas faces off against Kansas State on the gridiron.
Being a kid from Kansas, I know a lot of people that are over there in Lawrence at KU. I think that there's really a net positive to any of these rivalries. Like, it's not necessarily all hate and all bad blood. I know that when KU comes here or we go over to Lawrence, people show out and students will travel and kind of bring some good reunions. So there's good things that come out of the rivalry for both sides, and you know, it can even be a love-hate relationship in some forms.
Another way that rivalries are formed are through competing against each other in important games. Historically, in the United Kingdom football leagues, it was Manchester United against Arsenal.
Manchester United, back in the day, obviously Arsenal, I don't know if you know their history, but they're pretty big. And obviously Man United, they're big as well. So there were 2 teams at the top, and that game days they got pretty violent.
Rivalries are the lifeblood of any sport, and football fans in London have plenty to choose. In London, Landon Platter, MHK All Day.
It's hard to describe London fashion in just one word. The city is rich with history and a meeting place for fashion icons from around the world. Here at historic Savile Row, their focus is on tailored clothing and menswear, but travel to places like Oxford Street and Leicester Square, you'll find global brands. Their piece is still aligning with the British taste. London fashion is ever-changing, but the continued focus on sophisticated tailored clothing give that classic London look.
And London does have a very rich history of fashion and a lot of different styles, and places there take inspiration from different cultures. A lot of people would come over here and bring their knowledge with them and bring that to the London fashion industry as well. So
When diving into the fashion trends in London, clothing store manager George Parr says the size of London creates a unique fashion landscape. Parr says one thing to note is that small, independent businesses are thriving in the current fashion climate.
But ones that I notice, or especially ones like similar to here, is a lot of independents are doing quite well, I think, which is quite good. You have a lot of made-to-measure stuff, a lot of bespoke pieces, as well as like stuff off of the rail, which is like similar to what we do here. But yeah, you definitely have a lot of well-dressed people out and about, people who do take a lot of effort into what they wear and their wardrobe and everything.
Tailored, sophisticated clothing can be found wherever you look. However, this isn't new in the United Kingdom. Historic Savile Row has been around for hundreds of years. Here, small businesses or independents focused on bespoke tailoring and shirt making can be found. One contributor to the success of these independently owned businesses is the rising per capita disposable income of individuals around the United Kingdom. This increase propels the demand for luxury clothes in the country. The average household disposable income in the United Kingdom increased by $933 from 2019 to 2020. As a result, people's standard of living is improving, prompting them to seek clothing from independents. The UK luxury apparel market was valued at $6.1 billion in 2021 and is projected to reach $8.9 billion by 2028. This means that London's fashion scene will continue to grow. London is a melting pot of many different types of people. This directly contributes to the diverse fashion scene that will continue to grow for years to come. In London, I'm Hannah Whetstone, MHK All Day.
Coming up, the London's West End is considered the theatre capital of the world. We'll find out why when we come back.
London is largely known as the theatre capital of the world. West End, or Theatreland, has been attracting audience members for hundreds of years. The popularity of theatre is still increasing in London to this day.
Though theatregoers have choices around the rest of the United Kingdom, London is unique. They have pretty much any type of musical, drama, comedy, and even Shakespeare that you can think of. So, audiences can be attracted to what they like.
West End shows are a lot bigger than just different shows you'd find around other places in the UK. There are some which are specific to London and to the West End, and there are other shows that are doing tours or are at regional theatres around the UK.
Many tourists can be seen taking in a show or two while visiting the grand city of London. Some of the headline shows continuing long runs in the West End are Les Miserables, Phantom of the Opera, and Wicked, just to name a few. No matter what your interests are, including family fun, you can probably find it in the West End. With so many productions to choose from, one will be right for you.
And I think what makes the West End so special is that it's just a community vibe. So there's a bit of something for everyone, whether you're into your old classic musicals or your new upcoming shows. There's something for everyone, and it feels like a family vibe.
West End theater attendance is gradually increasing since the COVID-19 pandemic. Box office numbers were up more than 7%, with more than 16.4 million people in 2022 compared to 2019, up by more than 1 million visitors. One of the theaters in particular that has seen that increase is Hadestown, a show about the retelling of the ancient Greek myth of the story of Orpheus and Eurydice. Even as plays change, the historic venues are almost stars themselves.
It's been here for so long that building theatre has just been a part for hundreds of years. So I think there's just always been a kind of arts hub here. And it's attracted people from all over the world.
Theatre and the arts has become part of what makes London the city that it is. London's West End continues to outperform other global box office markets and improve their economy.
Yeah, I just think it's so ingrained as part of London's identity, kind of theatre and the arts, that, yeah, something we're famous for. Plus, it also makes quite a lot of money. So it pushes a lot, we're pushed a lot to kind of be part of London's economy.
This theater capital of the world here in London continues to increase in popularity with its myriad of shows and experiences for theater goers to enjoy. More affordable than Broadway, fans can get more play for their pound. In London, I'm Parker McGowan, MHK All Day.
Up next, football, soccer to the U.S., is king around the world. In London, that means some hometown rivalries. We'll explore what the beautiful game means to London fans, coming up.
From the culture to the history to the love of the sport, football has easily been one of the most influential sports for England.
I think our obsession with football, I don't think there's anywhere else in the world that has as many professional football clubs per head of population. Football over here is massive, it's an obsession.
Well, I think football here, which we would call soccer back at home, is more like a religion. It's not just a game, it's not just a team, it's the culture. People are fans of a team, but they live and die by Liverpool. They live and die by Manchester City. It's their colors, it's their team, and they are just loyal to a fault. But it's what brings the whole community together. It's the fabric of that community.
Mainly it's to come with my dad, my brother, come on a Monday night, I'm here with my mate. It's sort of good to get away from uni and sort of things like that. And obviously I love watching football, I love the game, I play football. And it's just a brilliant day out, so yeah.
There are many different aspects that go into a culture, with London having many. Football is one that holds rich in tradition and legacy, which runs deep within the British blood.
Long-term Chelsea fan. I'm here with my son. We've been coming for years and years. Well, it's kind of genetic. Once the dad's a Chelsea fan, then it starts on. Well, any fan, really.
In England, you are born into fandom and stick with it through thick and thin. The joy of success is rare, which makes it that much sweeter. For the Brits, it's a family affair.
I went to my first game when I was 3 years old. I've been through all the different ups and downs, watching it every week, going to the games, with my dad, seeing it with family, seeing it with friends, it brings everyone together.
The game is more than just a hobby. It's a way of life, and sometimes as big as life itself.
So going to the football is cathartic. It's like one of the few places you can go and shout your head off and feel better. And it's one of the few places where you experience the highs and the lows that you might do in your whole lifetime within 90 minutes.
Sort of it's exciting. As soon as I get in there and I hear the fans, and I look around, I just feel happy. I'm happy to be here. It's a relief to be back here. Like for me, I can sort of shout and have a few beers with my mates. Like just good fun.
It's such a passion, and the football clubs in each town is kind of the heartbeat of the community. The big city clubs like Arsenal, Tottenham, Manchester City United, Chelsea, it's a different level economically, but you go to the smaller clubs like one of my favorites, Burnley up north, and it is the show. It's the only show in town. And so people rally around that, and that is their social outlet. That is their conversation points on Monday. That's the water cooler talk. They live and die by how that club does. And it really is the glue that holds the community together. So the factory may close, a new company may come in, but as long as the football team's winning, everything's good.
England would not be England without the heartbeat of football woven all throughout the community and culture. And that's the way they love it. In London, JP Cardenas, MHK All-Day.
London has been known for their traditional pubs that can be found on almost every street corner. However, pubs in London are evolving to meet customers' changing demands. By offering sporting matches, a larger menu, and more modern styling, the traditional pub might be dying.
Well, you've got different types of pubs. You've got pubs with, for the older person, you want to be able to hear what the other person is saying. Therefore, turn the music down, please. That's not what you want to hear when you're 20 years old and you're out with your chums and you're having a big night out. So you can almost sort of tell when you approach a place what this is going to be like. If it's pumping with music and it's throbbing with people, that's for a certain clientele.
Brixton local Leon Jones always enjoys coming to his local pub, The Windmill, known for showcasing local and new music all week long. Many local Londoners use the pub as a place for their social gatherings.
So I went here first time in, a year or two maybe, and I loved it. I loved every second of it. But I love the bands that are playing here because this is the only venue I've actually been to where I've actually enjoyed stuff like this. And this is basically my area essentially. I've loved it here ever since. I even got into my first mosh pit here, and I was sold. I came back literally every time after that. I was sold.
A new report by Nighttime Industries reveals a total of 3,011 pubs, bars, and nightclubs have closed in London since March of 2020. With ever-rising costs of living, pubs are changing their ways of doing business to continue making a profit.
Lots of pubs have gone bust since COVID. They really haven't been able to make ends meet. And most pubs nowadays need food to be able to. In the past, you went to a pub to drink. The concept and idea of eating in a pub, no, you didn't do that. You went to a restaurant to do that. But pubs have survived through providing, in some cases, absolutely excellent food, and they have to do that in order to make some money.
Besides food, some pubs around London with extra space have decided to host many different types of performances, such as hosting a play night or concert night, all in an effort to get more beer drinkers in the door.
They have imaginatively decided we're going to do comedy nights, or we're going to do cabaret nights, or we're going to do something else. Everybody's got to be a bit more imaginative to get the punters into the pubs these days. So you've got to have some kind of special offer, essentially. I don't mean price necessarily, I mean something that will encourage a large group of people you want to encourage to come.
The idea of a sports bar is a growing trend in London pubs. This idea, which has been imported from American bars, is host to pubs putting up mini TVs and showing the local football match. Normally drawing a younger crowd, they see it as a social event.
It's either just for sociability and drinking and smoking essentially, but you do get to the pubs where they have the TVs and maybe it depends in certain areas, but around here it's very chill, they're very relaxed. Maybe in different areas it may be a bit rough every time, but I guess it depends on who you go with and who you're around, but they're mostly just relaxed, sullen, very docile.
The ones that survive, and have survived since COVID, are people who've been imaginative, thoughtful, not just put out the usual offering. They've thought about whether they can add a bit of extra entertainment. And the best pubs that make the most money are very specific about who they want to attract.
For pubs to thrive and survive, they need to adapt. While the old way of community gathering may be changing, this doesn't mean the sociality and congeniality of London pubs is going to disappear anytime soon. In London, I'm Aaron McGill, MHK All Day.
Some of the most famous bands in the world got their start in the UK. The lesser-known underground scene is always alive in London. We'll head to the mosh pit up next.
Ever since COVID, local music and venues have been in recovery around the world, but here in South London, it's never sounded better. Join me as I take a look at shopkeepers and artists who are keeping the spirit alive. Punk rock and metal are synonymous with the London counterculture scene, but COVID put a dent in both live performance and music shops, and when they came back, it had to look a little different while recovering.
We came back and had all the strange phenomenon of sitting down gigs, for example, where you guys are going to head later at the Windmill, which is known to be a pretty riotous venue. We had about 6 months of seated gigs in there, which felt like a jazz club, which was pretty wild. And then frankly, we all got kind of used to it because it was like you got Guinness brought to your table, and we all got like quite fond of that. But yeah, and then it just changed. It just happened really quick, you know. That period felt like forever.
Here at Dash the Henge, a record store and label in South London, they're keeping it rocking by hosting live music and supporting small artists.
And we set up the label in order to champion outsider artists, effectively. And we continued to do that, and then during lockdown we had access to a pub in Streatham where we were able to write and record and rehearse, so that was really handy. And then we actually ended up in a situation about 18 months ago that this store here, which was a record store for 20 odd years, called Rat Records, which was a bit of a South London institution. Yeah, basically the guy who ran it was, he'd done his time, he'd done his 20 plus years, and he was shutting up shop. So myself and a few others, including Chris O'Sea and Chris Stafara, took it on our cultural duty to keep it as a record store and not be another chicken shop, nail bar, barbers, bookies, you name it.
Getting the word out is essential to what keeps places like these going.
New venues opening, there's always something going on, there's gigs every night of the week. We joke actually that this little area where we are here, we're going to make it like the East 6th Street in Austin, in South London, whereas obviously there's a whole bunch of venues down there. So yeah, slowly but surely our plan is to evolve this area into something similar, so yeah.
Even in the heart of Leicester Square, we can find people working to make music happen and show off their talent.
Yeah, so there's a lot of buskers that come and play in Leicester Square, definitely, and there's millions of different genres, loads of different instruments, singers, violinists, all sorts come and play in Leicester Square, so yeah, it's vibrant.
Pubs have become very popular music venues, and at the Windmill Brixton, bands like Oral Habit, who started in Brighton, love to play these South London venues. These guys are living up to what it means to be artists.
We kind of weren't meant to be on the bill tonight, but we're friends with, we know Cowboy and Scab, who are like headlining tonight, and we kind of just asked, like, should we just rock up and play? And they were like, yeah, sure. So we opened up tonight, first time playing the Windmill, but we play in London and Brighton, all over, trying to do as many gigs as we can.
Making their mark on the scene, they welcomed a new member into their band from Ireland named Fergal.
A few times I've played here, I've gotten quite a good vibe off of everybody. The different venues and places we played and the different people we've met, it's all been very supportive and very interactive, really. I haven't really had a negative experience up here yet. It's just been, yeah, it's been very community driven.
Each member of Oral Habit is focused on improving their craft, and these kind of venues in South London are perfect for them.
There's obviously like a lot of like self-improvement, and like you're always criticizing yourself, so I feel like I can always get better and improve, and I feel like I can do that when we play more and more gigs. So it's like the more gigs we play, the more we can show our music to different people and more of a following we get. It's not really like, oh, I want to be really big and play stadiums or whatever. It's just like, it's just something I love doing and I just want to play to people, so yeah.
The local music scene here in London is in good hands as long as they have bands like Oral Habit to create awesome music for all to enjoy. In London, I'm Brody Zwiebel, MHK All Day.
Thanks for joining us on this special edition of MHK All Day London Calling. For all of us on the Channel 8 News team, cheerio from London.
We in London, baby.
Hey!